In 1999, I found myself in Yazoo, Mississippi, in a jail cell as small as a bathroom. It was dark and it was lonely. And for the next 365 days, I stayed in that space, only coming out for 1 hour a day to another space that I couldn't see the sun. At night, I could hear men screaming and crying because the cell seemed to be getting smaller and smaller. And for the first 20-something days, I agonized in that space because I couldn't find any peace. But on the 23rd day, a phone call to my mother changed my existence forever. I called home, trying to be strong and not show any emotion. But during the course of the conversation, I broke down crying, and I said, "Mom, I can't do this." And she said, "Yes, you can, baby, because God will only put on you what you can bear." I said, "But I've never been confined like this." She said, "You're confined on the inside, but your mom is confined on the outside." I said, "But Mom, it's not the same." She said, "How can you tell me it's not the same? Have you ever carried a child for 9 months that you did all you could for and had to receive a phone call from a jail cell?" At that point, I realized my decisions not only affected me, but they affected all the people that I love. 3 days later, I received a box from my mother, and the box had a simple letter and 20 books. The letter stated, "Nelson Mandela did 27 years in prison for a crime that he didn't commit. I'm pretty sure that you can do 7.5 years in jail for a crime that you did. And here's what Nelson Mandela said. Here's what Nelson Mandela did to strengthen himself during that time." The first thing that she said he did was he continually aligned himself with God because he knew through God all things were possible. So in that same box that my mom sent me, there was a Bible. So I began reading my Bible every day. And over the course of my 6-year stay, I read my Bible from cover to cover several times. During the reading of my Bible, I started asking God, "God, what is it that you want me to learn from this message?" And he said, "I want you to learn from this to share your message with people from all over the world in the hopes that people will make better lifestyle choices." The next thing that she said Nelson Mandela did was he read books. And we all know that reading gives you knowledge. But the good thing about reading books when you're confined, the books took my mind away from the space that I was in. So I was able to start finding that peace that eluded me in the beginning. I started reading more books, and I started gaining more knowledge. But there was one book in that box that I read that changed my life forever. And it was a book by one of my mentors now, and his name is Les Brown. That book is called Live Your Dreams. I began that book, and that book started saying to me that I could be anything I wanted to be if I just worked hard. So I began to read, and I began to study, and I began to write. And I began to read more, and I began to study more, and I began to write. But there was one question in the back of my mind, and I kept asking myself, how can I become a person with swag? The kind of person that makes a difference in the world, the kind of person that walks upright, the kind of person that lives a healthy life. I wanted to have major swag in my life. So if you want to have major swag in your life, if you do these 7 things that I'm going to tell you over the next 15 or 20 minutes, your life will change tremendously. The first thing that you want to do to have major swag in your life is you want to establish a spiritual foundation for your life. Why? Because through God, all things are possible. All things are possible. When I realized that I could become the person I wanted to become and I could have the things that I wanted to have, I started reading more. I started studying more. I started writing more. But my life wasn't changing. My life began to change when I started to apply the information that I was reading, that I was studying, that I was writing. So if you want to become a person of major swag, establish you a spiritual foundation. And once you establish a spiritual foundation, your thinking will start to change. James Allen is famous for his book, As a Man Thinketh, So Is He. If you get you a spiritual foundation, your thinking is going to change. And once your thinking changes, you'll become a new person. So you definitely want to get you a spiritual foundation to increase your swag. The next thing that you want to do to become a person of swag, you want to get a vision for your life. During the 6 years that I stayed locked up, I walked up and down that compound, and I see myself speaking to hundreds and thousands of people. And now that's a reality for me because I put that picture in my mind. And it's amazing how you put a picture in your mind, your subconscious is going to lock into that picture. And you're going to begin to take the steps that's necessary to make your vision reality. So you want to get you a vision. Know who you want to be. You need to have 2 visions in your life. You need to have one for the person that you want to become. You want to have 2 for whatever you want to do in your life. And often we're going to fall off the track. We all do. But one thing about when you fall off the track, if you know the person that you want to become and you know what you want to be, those things are going to allow you to get back on the track. So you want to get a vision for your life. There's nothing that people start building from a foundation up and they just start it. They get a picture of it. And you want to do the same thing with your life. You want to get a picture of who you want to become and what you want to do with yourself. Start asking yourself every day, what am I passionate about? What is it that I want to do to help the world become a better place? And once you find out that, then you lock that picture in your mind of whatever it is you want to be. So if you want to have major swag, get you a vision for your life. The next thing that you want to do is you want to find you a mentor. Tanisha talked about that earlier today. There's a mentor out there for every person here in this audience today. Whatever you want to become, start looking to find that person that's successful in whatever you want to do. Because one thing I learned about people that are successful, they don't mind telling you how they became successful. They want to brag about it. But there's a nugget, not in their bragging about how they became successful, but you want to listen at the mistakes that they made on their journey. That's what you want to pay more attention to. Not their successes, but their failures. Because if you pay attention to what they failed at, if you want to become the same thing that they are, then it'll allow you not to make those same mistakes that they made. So you want to pay more attention to the things that they say they failed at, more so than the things that they said they succeeded at. When I came home from prison, I sought out Les Brown because he was one of the most popular motivational speakers out there. And Les has been a major benefit for me in my life because he saved me a lot of time, he saved me a lot of money. I've only been home from prison 3.5 years. I've written 4 books. I speak all around the country, and it's all because of Les and other mentors that I have. Steve Harrison, Glenn Smith. I reached out to people that have said, Kerry, you need to do this to become successful. You need to do this. Here's where I made bad choices at. And I took what they said, and I started applying those things to my life so that I didn't go around and make the same mistakes that they made. So you definitely want to find you a mentor. Whatever it is that you want to do, there's somebody out there that's successful doing it. So find you a mentor. The next thing that you want to do to have major swag is you want to get yourself an education. Let me say that again. You want to get yourself an education. When I was locked up, I got a degree in the development of children. I'm a certified personal trainer. I have a diploma in financial planning. I took several courses in real estate. I read almost 400 books on spirituality, self-development, and biographies because I realized that the reason that I was in prison and part of my self-esteem issues were because I lacked education. And there are so many different areas that you can get an education. When I say education, I don't mean just a 4-year degree. Some of you are going to be successful with a 2-year degree. Some of you are going to be successful going to technical school. Some of you are going to be successful by reading. Some of you might choose to go to seminars to educate yourself. You have to find out what's best for me. But you can't get there without an education. There's nothing that you can accomplish in this life without an education.